What up, Capers? Martin, the Thought Junkie from Cape Seat Free here. We are so excited to bring this episode to you because it's an episode that's been, I don't know, 6 years in the making. Does that sound about right, Chad, resident movie nerd?
It's been a little while since we popped up on here, but yes.
Yeah.
I'm Chad, the resident movie nerd, and yes, this was like one of the original ideas I think that you had talked about when you had the idea to kind of do this podcast and talk about superhero stuff, and it was about doing like the superhero version of the Oscars and stuff. So here we are finally. Yeah.
I wasn't in that conversation at the time, but I came on right after that.
Well, what happened was, I'm sorry, Chris, the film school dropout. He was acting in the movie Tag, so we were like, we gotta get him.
I was busy at the time of the conception, but I'm here to help throw fuel on the fire.
Susie Q.
Hi, I'm Susie Q.
You can say hi now. Yeah.
Q for quarantine because I was inducted into this group while we were all at home.
That's true. We have yet to record an episode together with you, all in the same physical place, but hopefully we'll get to do that sometime soon.
I hope so, because that'll be real fun.
All the news I've heard recently should be soon.
We're drinking. What's everybody drinking?
I'll start. I've got the North Coast Brewing. See if I can get it in. There it is. I like a stout. I like something, 10% and above that really makes me feel it. This old Rasputin Russian Imperial Stout. It's like $10 a pack of 4. It's heavy, man, but
I didn't have much in the fridge, but I got a Sam Summer Ale, which is one of my favorite summer light, lemony ales, because I figured it's warming up. It's starting to get warm here in California. Going to be in summer soon enough. And unlike last year, we're going to actually have a summer movie season this year, which will be nice.
In the theme of the summer, California, I've been drinking this from Mother Earth's Brewery. It's called California Creamin'.
Ooh, I love Cali Creamin'.
I love that beer. It's so tasty.
This is actually the creamsicle flavor.
Ooh. I was gonna say because usually it's a blue can, but that one is that like orange creamsicle?
Yeah. It's like orange creamsicle.
I have got a Guinness Drought Stout. You can't
put it in front of yourself. Yeah. In front of your face.
There it is.
There it is.
It's my face.
Zoom is Zoom's like blurring the labels for like legal reasons. We can't. Won't let us show it now. I think so. I just for the awards. So I think.
Wait, we gotta tell them what we're doing.
What's that?
We gotta tell the Capers what we're doing.
Oh yeah. Well, I think I was gonna say the genesis idea probably came from because you watch the Oscars every year, and obviously a lot of great movies are always nominated, and great movies win and everything. But I think we're all like film nerds, so we watch a lot of those. A lot of times it's independent movies, smaller things.
We all work in the industry.
General public, and even probably the organizers of the Oscars themselves sometimes want bigger movies nominated to get a bigger, broader audience there. And superhero movies never really get the love they deserve. Very rarely.
Not until Black Panther,
stuff like that. So figured. Yeah, so do our own version of it, I think even like they realized when The Dark Knight didn't get nominated for Best Picture and stuff, that's when the Academy then like expanded the Best Picture nominees the following year to try to get more movies like that in there, and didn't always work, and they've adjusted the rules a few times since. But but now we're just gonna give love to just all those movies.
So we decided to take it into our own hands, and so we were talking offline, and it was like, it took so long for us to finally do this, but here we are. And I think the great thing about this is all of us have a deep appreciation for the industry that we work in, and the production designers, the costume designers, the composers. Like, there's so many different filmmakers, there's so many different people that work at different crafts that deserve respect for what they do for a living. So this is what Cape Seat Free is. We've done the Golden Cape Awards of 2021. We are going back, and we are taking a look at superhero films, comic book films from 2000 all the way to current. And we've taken the Oscar categories and a few categories of our own that we've created, like Best Kiss, Best Fight.
Wait, we didn't do Best Kiss, did we?
I thought we did Best Kiss. No, we didn't do Best Kiss.
No, that's not.
Don't promise them something. Now we have to do picks for
Now we gotta do it.
Now you put it in the ether. Let's just
We
find
don't have to reveal all the
categories.
special categories now, but yeah, we did a few extras, and there's some that we cut out from the Oscar categories that wouldn't fit, like documentary short.
Yeah.
A couple things like that it just would be too hard to actually find enough nominees and stuff. So yeah, and then so we did 2000 to the present sounded good because we've made this argument before in past episodes that really the modern era of superhero movies did start with X-Men in 2000. You could make that argument for a lot of different reasons. And so it just seemed turn of the century, we're like, just over 20 years past that. So you're looking at like a 21 year, period there. So just, it felt right,
It felt right, and it makes us feel old.
Yeah, that's remember seeing all these in the theater, over 20 years. Yeah, I know.
And while we have the Golden Cape Awards.
Right.
Yeah.
The Golden Cape Award.
The Capies.
The Capies.
Yeah.
So
we already have capers. Capers are already like the fans right out there.
People who download us.
You're the capers
out there.
You're the capers.
You're the capers.
These are the capers.
You're watching this. You're the caper. All right.
Yeah, so Martin, how are we doing this?
We're gonna do 5 categories. We're gonna talk about 5 categories. Each episode. We're gonna do it for about a month, and then we're going to release a document, a Google survey, and you guys are gonna help us choose who the winners are. You guys, not only are you helping us make history, but you're helping the 4 of us decide on who wins what. You are taking all the arguments Chad and I have, or Chris and I have. Susie, you haven't had as many arguments as we've had, but you're taking all the arguments that we've had and you're squashing the beef between the Cape Sea Free crew and choosing who deserves nominations for these awards. I've never seen anything like this. Have you guys?
Not yet, until now.
Yeah.
Until now, we're innovators. So today we are talking about 5 categories: Best Supporting Actor, Best Supporting Actress, Best Makeup, Best Ensemble Cast, which is something that we made up, and then Best Villain, another category that we made up. So
you have to have that with the you have to have that.
Yeah, no, you got that some superhero themes. I mean,
so some of our categories that kind of may sound like categories from like the MTV Movie Awards, but it fits with these types of movies. So we got to put our spin on it.
Best Kiss.
No, that's an MTV Movie Awards.
So everyone will be presenting their arguments for what should be nominated.
Right. So there's gonna be some overlap. We know that for sure. Yeah. Right. We all know that everyone's gonna choose Dark Knight for everything.
For certain ones, we all know. We know there's going to be some universal picks. So we all did our picks ahead of time, and we're going to talk them out, and whether we keep all of our nominations and have you guys vote on them, or if we narrow it down, we'll figure all that out, and then Martin will have to figure out what's the grand prize, what is an actual Capie. We don't have that figured out yet. We'll figure it out. That'll be a good deal later down the line.
As a production design major, I'm so
okay.
Oh, okay.
The way you just said that.
As a
I the hand to the chest as a production design major.
It's a little more pompous when you say that.
I'm excited about the fact that we get to highlight people who've been doing things like this and who've been sorry, my cat is Bolin.
And the special guest star, the cat.
Bolin, go
from Catwoman.
Go Earthbend. All right, so let's start with the first category. You ready? I'll go first.
Do it.
The first category, Best Supporting Actor. So I have 5. I know we can all choose 3 to 5. Mm-hmm. And I have to say, Best Supporting Actor.
We all know we all have the same person.
Yeah.
We all, yes,
sure.
Yes.
Right.
But Michael Fassbender playing Magneto in X-Men First Class. That's one for me. Mm-hmm. Aaron Eckhart playing Harvey Dent, Two-Face in The Dark Knight.
Ooh.
Robert Downey Jr. playing Tony Stark in Civil War. James McAvoy playing Dennis / Patricia / everybody else in Split.
Oh.
And finally, Heath Ledger, the Joker, and The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
Those are my 5. Who else we got?
Of course.
Let's go next.
I'll go next. And the thing is, there's a lot. I was going through a lot. I narrowed down to 4, and we had a couple overlaps. I'll just go with the overlaps right now. obviously Heath Ledger, Dark Knight. Robert Downey Jr., Civil War. I agree. My other two picks, I would go with Don Cheadle in Iron Man 2.
Ooh.
Mainly because I mean he after Iron Man, ready to see the first roadie. We already forgot his name when Don Cheadle took over.
Terrence Howard, how serious he took everything.
Terrence Howard,
Serious
yes.
Terrence.
And and my fourth one is Jackie Earl Haley.
Oh, for Watchmen.
Rorschach.
Yeah.
Rorschach.
That's a good one.
Ooh, I thought about him.
I mean, I think his performance kills, and I mean that's one of the performance people talk about of Watchmen.
Yeah.
I like it.
I don't.
Those are some good choices.
For this category, I didn't. It's a good thinking with like Robert Downey Jr. for like Civil War and stuff because he does get. There's a lot of high emotions. That might be some of the biggest emotions that we see from like Tony Stark, like in that movie. And totally, I know I couldn't think of any good ones for like the Marvel ones for this one, even though it's like Marvel kind of dominates a lot of my other categories. But this one obviously had Heath Ledger.
Right.
And then I put Michael Caine, but I couldn't decide which movie, so I just said the Dark Knight trilogy because he's so good. You know, when I rewatch those movies, just realize like he's kind of like the comic relief. He's like the heart of those movies in a lot of ways. Like he's like taking care of Bruce when he like takes care of him, and you know when he gets really upset. You know, like Michael Caine puts like a lot of emotion into that and stuff when he talks about Bruce, about his parents, and you know Bruce like disappoints him, and then you know it's just, Michael Caine is so good. And
I would say The Dark Knight Rises is where he shows the most emotional range, right?
Yeah, and then at the end when he just that very end of The Dark Knight Rises when he spots him and you know at the cafe at the end and stuff like that. Yeah, Mike. So I couldn't choose which one. I don't know. So maybe we can narrow it down to one of the movies from Michael Caine.
I think The Dark Knight Rises. What do you guys think?
I mean, I'll go with The Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah, we could do that.
To deal with his supposed death. Yeah.
And then the other one I had was Patrick Stewart for Logan.
Ooh.
That is good.
That is really good.
Yeah.
I think like you watch that movie. I just rewatched Logan recently, and like it makes you actually get worried about Patrick Stewart. You're watching that movie, he is so frail and like old in that movie. And I know it's a combination of obviously acting and like, you know, probably makeup and stuff, but you're like, makes you get worried for him. You're like, oh my God, is Patrick Stewart like
that's very true.
Okay? Is he like way older and frailer than I thought he was? Something like it seriously.
He's like a father figure to us all.
Yeah, it's like don't go.
I know.
For 20 years. Like if you think about it, that's 2000, right?
What?
2001 when X-Men came out?
Oh, in the first one, 2000, yeah. Logan was only like 4 years ago, but yeah.
Well, that's Patrick Stewart's been a dad more than some people have actually seen their real dads.
Or you start watching the Star Trek: The Next Generation was like 1987 that started, and yeah, you watch that.
That's when we were first introduced to him. That's brand loyalty right there.
Yeah, so that's Logan's. Logan's actually represented in a bunch of my categories too.
I want to just add on to that because I do feel like Patrick Stewart is so good. I might just add him to my list too. But the fact that like you see him in the other films, obviously he's the lead and he's the commanding guy. He's the commanding character. He's the one that like everyone looks up to. And you get into Logan, and he's still the same character, but he's just this frail. He's the one that actually needs help, and he pulls it off. Like
he's got like dementia.
You still know it's Professor
But
X.
he's dad.
He's a crazy man.
It's time for everyone else to take care of him, right?
Yeah.
That's the evolution of life. He
That's
took care of everyone for so
he's
long.
He's stubborn too. He's like,
as parents are.
Which isn't a very American thing.
Yeah.
Right? It's not a very American thing for us to take care of our grandparents. I mean, I say that because, I've grown up with Vietnamese and Latino and Cambodian and Ethiopian friends, and that's something that's not so very American. I feel like we're the only group of people that puts our grandparents in homes.
Right.
But Logan was like, no, you're not going into a home. I'm going to take care of you. And that's so admirable. That's a great choice.
I think he took it on because he felt that he was the only one who could take care of him. But yes, I'm gonna take it.
Oh, speaking of like Patrick, it just reminded me though, like you also could probably include it wasn't an official pick, but what do you guys think about like Anthony Hopkins for one of the Thor movies for
I
supporting?
thought about that too.
I mean, it's just like you think he's like this kind of like Patrick Stewart, like a classically trained like British actor who's done like Shakespeare, is like another level of like actor who's, like luckily we've had them, grace these movies with their presence and stuff like that. And hopefully they have a good time.
Yeah, I really liked him in Thor. I mean,
I just
like,
don't think they added much to it. Like, it's great having them in there, but I don't think it,
True.
That's a good point, Susie Q.
Maybe
Ragnarok.
Ragnarok.
I feel outside of the first one.
Yeah, I'd say maybe Ragnarok when he has to like sit when he's like says bye to like Thor and Loki and stuff like that.
I mean, it was a good scene. I just feel like that was.
You're right.
That was his monologue.
It's not Patrick Stewart level.
That was his monologue. But I believe in the first Thor was crucial in having showing Thor how to grow up and become the man he should be.
Sorry, we don't have to have him in the official picks. I just thought of it, but yeah. Anyways,
okay.
But those are my.
Those are all yours? Okay.
Yeah.
I guess my turn. I only have 4. Most obvious, obviously, Heath Ledger for The Dark Knight. I think everyone's gonna pretty much have him on their list. That's pretty easy. Robert Downey Jr., though, I have him for Endgame. I just felt like
okay.
Just from opening to him just talking to himself into his mic.
Yeah.
Just from the beginning, he was, I like the emotions were completely just taking over you because he just felt like he was gonna die. Yeah. And it just kind of set the tone already for you preparing yourself kind of for what might happen to him. Right. And I don't know. It was.
No, you're right. I mean, he does not just the beginning, but then like obviously going through the whole, everything's got to go through, obviously leading up to the big moment at the end. And then there's the, he's got the stuff with like his daughter in that movie too. And then there's
he held the world on his shoulders. Like,
yeah. And then when he gets that video message
coming back and failing, that, that broke him.
Or how good is that moment when like when Peter comes back and he like, like Mr. Stark, blah, 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 and he just like hugs him, and it's so
he's like, oh, this is nice. Like,
yeah, this is nice. No, that's a good one. That's a good argument too. Like for maybe, I don't know, maybe he's better than that than Civil War even.
And especially like seeing his dad again for the first time, and having that connection. I think it made that moment where he hugged Peter so much better,
I don't know. I would argue Downey maybe for that over Civil War, because Civil War, he doesn't really go off the deep end emotion wise until very close to the end.
I think Civil War helped him get there.
Right. And when after the video, he sees the video and realizes Bucky's the one that killed his parents at the end of Civil War. But that's closer to the end where it's like Endgame. It's like the entire movie, which it all led up to that.
The thing is, I actually like Robert Downey Jr.'s performance in Civil War as well. I mean, even at the beginning when he's the one when he decides to take on the responsibility of Sokovia as well.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. When
he's emotionally creating this rift where they turn into frenemies. Yeah. And he's still himself, but he's kind of a bad guy, but then he's still himself, and
you can't.
So, I mean, I still think Endgame's performance is a lot more emotional though.
Woo! This is great, guys. Did we go through everything?
I had one more, and it was just Chris Evans's performance for Endgame. Again, just his struggle throughout the fail of everything that happened and losing the people that they lost. He also carried that on his shoulders.
Yeah, there's the scene where he's like in the kind of the therapy group and stuff, and
right.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And just trying to get through it.
That's true.
Yeah, which is very human, which is what I love. All right, I'm going to go back. There's 10. So we have Robert Downey Jr. for Civil War, Don Cheadle for Iron Man 2, Jackie Earle Haley for Watchmen, Michael Caine, Dark Knight Rises, Patrick Stewart for Logan, Michael Fassbender, X-Men First Class, RDJ, Endgame, Aaron Eckhart, The Dark Knight, James McAvoy, Split, and Chris Evans for Endgame.
That's 10?
That's 10.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Woo, that was fun, guys. All right, let's go back. Let's go straight to the next category. Best Actress in a Supporting Role. Who wants to go first?
Ooh-wee.
I'll go. I can
Go
go
for it. Yeah.
Okay.
Hit
All
that.
right, resident movie nerd, let's go.
All right. Best actress in a supporting role. Let's see. Where's my list here? Okay, I have 3 for this one too. So I have I put going back to Logan. I actually have Daphne Keane for Logan, who played Laura. X23 there. So
Oh,
a little girl.
I did think about her.
But she doesn't. It's an interesting performance because she doesn't actually have to say much or say anything, but she's but she emotes a lot through her eyes. She has to be like really vicious and really quiet. Yeah, it's crazy. That's Daphne Keane. She's on. If you ever watch His Dark Materials on HBO now, now she talks and stuff, but it's like very different. You can just see the range of character she's able to play, and I just thought that movie is just so powerful in so many ways, emotionally, and just like anchored by the three main performances in the movie. So I put her down for that.
Next.
Then I got I put Zoe Saldana for Avengers Infinity War, because she in that movie is she's got a lot of stuff to deal with, her relationship with Nebula and Thanos, her father, and then telling Peter that if it comes to it, like, you have to kill me. And then there's that moment
So true.
And then obviously they go to Vormir, and then the whole scene, with the Soul Stone and all that. And yeah, I just think like Gamora's got a lot going on in Infinity War, and Zoe Saldana has to there's a lot of different emotional things, and just with all her relationships and stuff, and get pretty intense. So yeah, I thought Zoe Saldana deserved a spot for that one. And then my last one is I actually put Anna Paquin for X-Men, because I feel like that's like, you watch that first X-Men and it's just like, she's so, it shows like the shock, like right isn't she like with a
stabbed
and like she accidentally and it's just like the shock of discovering her powers. Then she like kind of goes on the run, so she's kind of like on the run from home, and then she doesn't know where to turn, and that's when she meets Logan and all that stuff, and you just really believe she's like this girl, like just this kind of scared like young girl, ran away from home, needs somewhere to turn. Like she's just very like timid, but then you start to see her evolution into the rogue character, and her performance always stuck with me from
also an Oscar-winning actress
from that movie. That's true. Yeah, when she was, isn't she one of the youngest?
Yeah, if not the youngest.
She was the youngest, unless they gave it to that kid recently.
The piano, in 1993 or something. Yeah.
The piano,
Yep. So Anna Paquin's a great actress, and so I don't know that always stuck out for me from that movie. So yeah,
I feel like Anna Paquin had the cards stacked against her, because at that point you were portraying a character, Rogue, who was so badass. Like, she took shit from no one. She was so confident about who she was. Like, she was just a badass character. And then we saw Anna, as young kids, as teens in the X-Men film. We were like, this isn't the Rogue I remember from the cartoon. So I recently went back and watched it. Like, oh my gosh, this Anna Paquin played a fantastic role. So I agree with you. For sure. That's good choices, Chad.
See, I had Anna Paquin in the best leading category. So I have to move some stuff around, because I wasn't quite understanding when it came to X-Men.
Have to do that.
Yeah, it's tough with the ensembles. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think for X-Men, I would consider maybe Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen and Hugh Jackman as like the co-leads of X-Men.
But I don't know Anna Paquin though. Like, that whole movie revolved around her and her powers Magneto needed. You know what I mean? Like,
we technically follow her story.
Yeah.
Learn about the X-Men.
Yeah.
In that one. So
I guess it could go either way.
I mean, I picked her for supporting as well. So, but I guess
you want to go next?
You could put a verdict.
Film school dropout.
Yeah, I can go next since I spoiled one of my picks. All right.
So you also picked her for supporting actress?
Yes, she's one of my.
Oh, that's crazy! Wow. And Susie, that you had her in another category too. That's really cool.
You guys are cute. You want a room? Yeah.
No, it's cool. That's really out of all. But that's cool that out of all the choices, it's more of a. It's not one that really jumps out at you really, but it's, sorting through all these movies and all these performances is cool that we, obviously we all picked that Heath Ledger and stuff like that, but it's like Anna Paquin and X-Men, that's pretty cool that that's a surprising that we all picked that. That's awesome.
Surprising to me too.
That makes us be movie fans because, we thought about X-Men 1.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I've always think Cape Seat Free offered, right? We all work in the industry. We all offer a different perspective of movies. It's very easy to hop on and create a podcast where you're just bashing superhero films.
We don't do
100%. That's not us. That's not Cape Seat Free. Not saying what they're doing is wrong.
Yeah, but okay.
That's true.
All right, on top of X-Men for Paquin, and Paquin for X-Men, I have Karen Gillan, Nebula in Endgame.
Oh yeah.
Her obviously her turn from a bad guy to the good guy, then having to play her old self.
Yeah, two different versions.
Again, when they run into the 5 years younger version of her.
Yeah.
So she's literally you see the growth when she has to look at her past self and she has to see how she's grown. I think her performance is great. It's one of those. I feel like with Endgame there was a lot of character development and her character had a lot of growth in just that one movie. So
nice.
For this part.
Yeah.
Nice choice.
Yeah. She's really good. She's really good.
I will go with also get Scarlett Johansson for the first Avengers. Mainly because she comes off, if you remember this movie, she comes off as this badass, obviously, super spy. But she shows this vulnerability, obviously, when she goes to hunt for the Hulk, when she goes to hunt for Banner.
There's a great moment where doesn't he like mess with her, scare her for a second?
Yeah, he does like a little jump scare and make her think that he's getting angry, and then all of a sudden, she jumps back. But she comes off like she has the gun, and then she faces off and then realizes this is not something I can handle. I can't talk a beat down.
Yeah, that's a good moment.
Yeah. And it also comes in later on when they're fighting on the helicarrier, and both her and Banner and her crash down, and Banner starts changing to the Hulk, and she freaks out and just has to run for her life, get out from under that whatever pillar thing that fell on her leg, and has to run for her life. Yeah. And there's so many, because obviously she's badass with this whole series, but she does show all these like.
Well, that's where you see her. It's one of the few moments in any of the movies that, where you actually see her scared. Where she's actually scared.
And she kind of rehashes it when she talks to a Hawkeye about it.
Hawkman.
Hawkeye. She talks to Hawkeye about it, about like how she
No, that's good. And because then by the time you get to Age of Ultron, she's not scared of it, and then obviously you find out they have a little thing going on, but then they've come up with the sun's going down, big guy, and they she's not scared of him anymore and stuff like that.
Oh, I love that moment. Chris, what else you got?
I got Carla Gianni and Sally Jupiter and Watchmen.
Carla, how do you say her last name?
I'm pretty sure I said it wrong. So. It's Carla Giuno, I think.
Yeah.
Giuno, so yes.
Yeah.
She's Sally Jupiter. She's obviously the mother of
I thought I was going to be the only one with Watchmen choices. Huh. Okay.
No, she's
sure
they have this whole. Obviously with the movie you see the real behind the scenes of these superheroes, but she's a superhero had to fight through sexual assault. She all of a sudden became powerless, even though she's in this powerful group with Manhattan, everyone. But then behind the scenes, when the comedian sexually assaults her and rapes her, she has to live through this.
Her conversation in Watchmen about forgiveness. Watchmen, I was probably 23, 24 when I came out in theaters and watching it, and I was just like, how can you forgive this mother effer? But then I watch it now; it's still one of my favorite superhero films.
I like Watchmen.
Conversation. About forgiveness is just so huge.
Jackie Earle Haley. Martin? Did you pick Jackie Earle Haley? Oh no, Chris did. Yeah, he's really good in that.
And then my other one, I'm giving to Margot Robbie in Suicide Squad. Her portrayal of Harley Quinn. I feel like she brought that character to life.
Yeah.
At first, you know, she came off, she said the voice. I'm like, oh, okay. But right when I fell right into it.
Yeah.
She, you know, all the ups and downs. If you fill out the movie, her performance, she was Harley Quinn all the way through. She was the representation.
Yeah,
of
she's
Harley
owned. She's owned that character. Now, who would have thought like she's getting to play her in, you know, a bunch of other movies too. Like, she got Birds of Prey, and then she's in the James Gunn one too. So she's one of the few characters that is coming back to like Jai Courtney. Is he also playing the same character too? And like,
Yes.
Yeah. So it's like a reboot, but there's some of the same people in there. So yeah, it's cool that she's
well,
getting.
I mean, the story of Suicide Squad is that each time they have different bad guys in this.
Yeah.
They have Capture at the time. So
Gotcha. Susie, you want to go next?
Good.
Yeah. I got Scarlett Johansson for Endgame because mostly for that scene with the Soul Stone.
Oh, of course.
And like just the drama that went into that was just beautiful. Elizabeth Olsen for Infinity War. The acting that it took for her to have to go through what she did with Vision, the end was just heartbreaking. And no, like would not want to wish that on your worst enemy. And
so much to the point where like that was such a huge and pivotal moment in storyline in her own show with WandaVision. Right. That was a fantastic moment.
Really gets expanded upon, yeah. And even in the beginning of Infinity War 2, where you just see her just living like trying to live a normal life with Vision, and where are they in like Scotland or something? I forget where they are, but they're trying to live off the grid, and then they just get attacked, and but it leads all up to that. Yeah, she has to watch him die. She has to watch him die twice.
Like it wasn't bad enough the first time to then have to watch him be killed. It's tragic. And my other pick is Tessa Thompson for Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah. She's really good in that too.
Yeah.
But Valkyrie, she's great.
Yeah.
I almost picked Elizabeth Olsen, but
I thought about it too.
But you know, that accent part kicked her out. Accent inconsistency.
We know you're not choosing Halle Berry for anything.
I wonder why that wasn't mentioned.
I want to.
In WandaVision, doesn't Catherine Hahn, near the end, she comments on the accent, right?
I think so, yeah.
Like, and that accent, what's up, you know?
Those were my picks.
That's great.
Yeah. Those are great picks. My picks, I'll start with the ones that have already been mentioned. Daphne Keane, Logan, Laura. It takes a lot to be able to acting not only in English but in Spanish as well, and in all of the aggression as a kid that she had to go through as X-23. Like that character really, I mean, of course we were there for Logan, but at the same time we were there to see who this portrayal of X-23 was. And so
she's scary as hell when she attacks like the people in that movie with claws out.
Yeah, for sure. And Susie, like you, Scarlett Johansson for Endgame. You know, I remember after like the inciting incident, when we go back 5 years later, like some of the first stuff that you see is Captain America trying to live that normal life. But I was really impressed by Scarlett, and you could tell that she was a broken woman on the inside, but still a badass at the same time. And she really emoted that brokenness. And I was just so impressed by her performance and by the emotion that she brought. So that was definitely one of my
like that scene where she's just like in the headquarters with her feet up, just like eating a peanut butter jelly sandwich.
Eating a sandwich, right?
Yeah.
As Ant-Man eats. Is anybody eating this peanut butter sandwich?
Chris, like you, Margot Robbie and Suicide Squad, you know, I mean, if you think back, a lot of people had issues with that film, and the one redeeming quality that I always hear is Margot Robbie's performance as Harley Quinn, bringing that character to life for the first time. And I just remember she was so heavily in that trailer, right? That's over Will Smith. That's over all these actors. It felt like the Margot Robbie show. So
no, she really created a unique character. Think about this. Think about leading up to that movie, like where we all, you know, we're excited for it. Thought it was going to be good, and the trailers were great. But wasn't everybody more talking about Jared Leto as the Joker? Like, oh, we're getting a new Joker and Jared Leto, but that's not what lasted. That's not the impression. Obviously, I know they added the new scene to the new Justice League, but he's never gonna play that character again in a major movie. I highly doubt. But like like we just said, she's been able to continue that character.
Well, he was the worst part and she was the best part.
Yeah, so. But everybody obviously after people are always fascinated to see a new take on the Joker and stuff. Obviously, we have the all the different iterations. But yeah,
I think people think that they're fascinated to see a new iteration of Joker, but I think they want to see it closer to what he really is.
Yeah, right. That was a little too. Yeah, Jared Leto's a fascinating actor. He can really disappear into a character, but yeah, that was a little weird. Yeah, but. Yeah.
All right, my last 2 picks, and these are different from everyone else's. Maggie Gyllenhaal in The Dark Knight. Her portrayal.
Going bold with a Rachel pick here.
Really?
Her portrayal of Rachel Dawes. You felt so connected to Rachel. She was so different from Batman Begins. She was brass. She could take care of herself. She, didn't need Harvey Dent, or she didn't even need Bruce Wayne. And she brought so much of a dynamic in that midpoint of that film. Like when she died, that took all of the energy out of the entire theater. I remember seeing it twice.
She dies like mid-sentence or something too, which is really, you don't expect that to
very unexpected.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think the death was great.
By her.
Not at all. And think about her death had to propel Bruce and Harvey Dent with their character arcs. So that was such a pivotal moment, I think, in the movie, and she portrayed that character very well. And my last pick is Cate Blanchett, Hela from Thor.
Oh, I thought about that.
That's a good pick. Yeah,
that's a good one. She's a great villain, and
she's also Cate freaking Blanchett.
Right? I remember seeing those trailers. I had no idea who this character was, but I remember seeing the trailers and thinking to like, how is Thor going to get out of this? I'm such a big buff for sibling rivalries already, but like to bring that level of a star to a film such as this and have her so intimidating and so raw and so confident of herself, dude, it was so cool to see her. And I really felt that tension and really felt, is Thor going to be able to defeat this woman in the end? So
the crazy thing is, like, if Hela, Thor, and Loki got along, they would rule the world. Like, they would absolutely rule the world.
No, Martin, you're right. She's portrays such confidence, like the way she just walks down the steps, and then when she just does that thing where she brings out the antlers when she just like is walking, just like 3D antlers and stuff like that. Like, yeah, she's really good in that. Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna read what we have. Daphne Keane for Logan. If you're not represented, let me know. Daphne Keane for Logan, Zoe Saldana for Infinity War, Anna Paquin for X-Men, Karen Gillan for Endgame, Scarlett Johansson for Avengers, Carla Gugino for Watchmen.
I
think so.
Gugino. Margaret Robbie for Harley Quinn. Elizabeth Olsen for Infinity War. Scarlett Johansson for Endgame. Tessa Thompson for Thor Ragnarok. Cate Blanchett for Thor Ragnarok. And Maggie Gyllenhaal for The Dark Knight.
Is that 10?
That's 12.
You can probably put the Scarlett Johanssons as like one category if you need to, or.
I mean, do we cut one? Too much?
Yeah. Wait. Do we have two? Wait.
We should keep it. I'm gonna keep it 10.
Separate.
Guys?
Are there two Scarletts?
There's Scarlet for Avengers and Scarlet for Endgame.
Oh yeah.
I don't think the Capers are gonna have trouble seeing that there's 12 other than 10. You know what I mean? Like, I really feel like we should give credit to these characters that these actors have portrayed.
Okay.
So I'm okay with 12, but if you guys aren't,
I mean, I'm sorry about. I'm cool with killing a couple of them, but
Okay.
I mean, as an editor, sometimes you got to kill your babies to make the movie happen. Great scenes, great ideas, great. And you got.
Yeah, the Oscars have rules for how many can pop up in a category. So.
All right, so let's do a vote. All right, Daphne Keane from Logan. Are we cutting or killing? Are we killing?
She got two.
I think you got.
Yeah, she got 2 votes.
I think if multiple people chose it, it should automatically.
Slide, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, Zoe Saldana for Infinity War was 1. Anna Paquin was only 1. even though we talked about it. Karen Gillan for Endgame.
No, I picked her.
Okay.
Yeah.
I picked Anna
2 for Annan. Okay. 1 for Karen Gillan for Endgame. 1 for Scarlett Johansson in Avengers. 1 for Carla in Watchmen. 2 for Margot and Harley Quinn. 1 for Scarlett in Endgame. 1 for Infinity War, Elizabeth Olsen. 1 for Tessa Thompson in Thor Ragnarok. 1 for Kate in Thor Ragnarok. And 1 for Maggie Gyllenhaal in The Dark Knight. So,
well, I think we let's just combine the Scarlet.
I did pick Civil War. I mean, I'm sorry. Yeah, I picked Avengers for Scarlet.
So Avengers.
I will just go Scarlet with Endgame as well, if that's so we can condense our performance to Endgame.
Okay, I love it.
One more.
That's that one.
All right, 1 more. Maggie Gyllenhaal, Dark Knight. Kate Blanchett, Thor Ragnarok. Tessa Thompson, Thor Ragnarok.
I'd say the weakest is probably
we can
Tessa.
lose Elizabeth Olsen, but that's
I would say Tessa, and that's one of my picks.
I would say Tessa.
We can lose Tessa then. We can lose Tessa, yeah. She's cool, but
the next one's going to be very interesting. I'm really interested in seeing what you guys chose for best makeup. Chris, you want to go first?
Oh yeah. Okay. Best makeup. I have 4. And I just want to say first off, because like with a lot of superhero movies, a lot of these makeups have effects on them and stuff. I wanted to go with I feel like the ones that are just mostly makeup. It's not like Vision. Vision half his thing is visual effects. So I'm gonna pick him. But I feel, first, I'll start with the best. I think first off, hands down, it's Mystique in X-Men 2. Mystique in X-Men 2. She's head to toe. That's her body. She's pretty much playing naked, and she's all makeup.
It's so true.
Super special effects. To me, that is. I picked that one. I wasn't gonna pick any other ones. I just picked more because we should.
So we're choosing next 2 for best makeup for you. Good. Okay.
Yeah. The next one is Karen Gillan as Nebula.
And which film?
Endgame, because she was in that movie.
Are we doing the film or the character?
The character.
I was going film.
I went film.
Oh, wait. I'm sorry. What we're doing?
Best makeup in a film.
Oh, makeup in the whole film. Oh,
yeah.
Well,
you just pick one of the movies they were in.
But you can still say the character. You can say the film and then why.
Okay, this is why I picked X-Men 2 is because of Mystique.
Which is great. It's great because if you know about the lore and about the information with films, like you see Jennifer Lawrence and her makeup progressively gets less and less complicated.
Right.
Films, right? So it just shows you how dedicated what's your name was in X2. X1.
Rebecca Romijn. Yeah.
You're right, because the same with like Vision and Mystique, as the movies went on, they decided to do more of it digitally than to actually, put them in
the actors got more famous.
And by the time Mystique got the Dark Phoenix, it's like her paint was faded. It's like they bought her makeup off a Wish or something.
Yeah.
It was just like painted and
well, Jennifer Lawrence just got way too big to sit in a chair for hours doing physical makeup.
Yes.
Yeah.
They wanted her actual face in it.
So then you have Nebula. So
I said Nebula. Nebula and Endgame. So
Gamora too.
Okay.
Gamora too. Yeah.
Do you have another one?
I do have another one, which I guess. I picked Joaquin Phoenix's Joker, because the idea of like you're making it simple, his simple makeup, because it's the start of this character, the simple clown makeup, but they turned the simple clown makeup and into this evolution of
revolutionary kind of idea. Yeah.
Right. So it just started off and it started fading and started getting worse towards the end of the movie, and it was just kind of messed up clown makeup. It was normal clown makeup. It wasn't straight from the comics or anything.
And we see him putting on his makeup during the film too, which is really cool to see.
It's true.
Yeah.
And so that's why I like that. And then I like the makeup on Harley Quinn, the Suicide Squad. On top of her performance bringing, I think her look and the makeup just, I mean, it looked like the character too. It looked like the cartoon character.
Yeah. You also have the crazy makeup job on Jared Leto in that movie too, you know.
Yeah, so I can pick that one, yeah.
Okay, nice. Who wants to go next?
I'll go next. My first pick is also X-Men 2. Again, how can you go wrong with like Mystique and Nightcrawler and all those characters? Like it was just great makeup. Work done.
Great practical makeup.
Yeah. And Guardians of the Galaxy, Gamora, Nebula, and the guy, I can't remember his name, the guy with the whistle. Like his father figure.
Yondu.
Yeah. There's just a lot of makeup in that world. You know, the different aliens and everything. It was just it's pretty easy pick for me for that. And then I went Hellboy.
Ooh, which one?
Oh,
the first one.
Oh crap! I forgot about Hellboy. I actually forgot about Hellboy.
I was like, the makeup in that movie was insane. Same.
I love it.
Yeah, actually.
Was that all of your choices, Susie Q?
Those are my choices for makeup. Yeah.
I want to jump in because Susie, I totally agree with you with Hellboy, but I chose Hellboy 2, The Golden Army, just because, and I wrestled back and forth between Hellboy and Hellboy 2, but I just remember the antagonist and his sister and all the different characters that were in Hellboy 2. I just think that there's such a good job and detail that went into the makeup of these characters. And let's not forget, these actors have to kick and jump and like do all types of physical stuff in this makeup as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
I also chose Suicide Squad because of the different makeup that you saw in there. You had what's the Latinx character? God, what can't I think of his name?
Oh,
the Cholo.
Yeah, he's the fire
character. You think about that. You think about Harley Quinn's makeup. You know, it was so highly anticipated to see that character. You think about the Croc, and I know a lot of that was prosthetics as well, but prosthetics also, you know, I feel like is within the realm of makeup as well.
Oh yeah, no, it's definitely
it's definitely makeup. Yeah.
100%.
So, and then, you know, Sin City. I have to say Sin City when you think about the makeup of Marv.
Yeah.
Not to mention the lighting, but that's for another conversation. The makeup in Sin City was very memorable. Also, Carla Gugino. God, I'm sorry, Carla.
It
is. Carla Gugino was in that as well. And then The Dark Knight, of course, you have to really, I feel like the Joker, we've been waiting for that character for so long, and that new cinematic version of him. And you think about the cuts to his lips, him licking his lips, and you think about how much that face paint played a character in that film and how memorable it was. Like, I don't even see Heath Ledger in that movie. I just see the Joker every time I watch it. So for me, that's, you know, another choice. Sorry, I'm writing as I do this. And then my last one is Kick-Ass. Because I remember in Kick-Ass, he got his ass beat so much. Every scene, it feels like he has a black eye.
Yeah.
He has a busted lip. And it's like,
it gets worse and worse.
It gets worse and worse, but also like sometimes it heals. So to be able to really think about the progression of a wound as it happens in the film, I think
you're absolutely right. You could actually tell older wounds on top of newer ones in that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I like it.
All right. Well, we definitely got some overlap here because I also picked. I actually wrote down the people's names because I know it's hard with makeup because I picked like the head people, but I picked for X2 X-Men United because I figured because I thought about the first one because you have Mystique, but then you added Nightcrawler to X-Men 2 as well.
Yes.
So I definitely think X-Men 2 is up there, and all practical. So I picked, I wrote like the head makeup people. Rita.
Did they ever have a Beast moment in X2? I can't recall.
That's X3.
It's X3.
X3 is when Kelsey Grammer comes in as Beast, right?
I mean, Beast was on TV, but he wasn't in makeup. He was still a person.
Yeah, I picked. So I wrote the Rita Chidzatsi, and Gordon Smith. I don't know, but we appreciate the craftspeople behind the work in the industry and stuff. So definitely that's cool that we all picked that one. And then I also did pick The Dark Knight, just because you think of like Martin said, just Heath Ledger's. It's so like gross, and it just like it gets worse as the movie goes on, and like it starts to run, and it's like, does he ever take this off? And it tells a story too, in a way, because every time he tells the story about his scars, it's always different. So you don't know what to believe, and you don't know if you just like don't know if he's a crazy person. But it's weird because Nolan sets up such a real kind of world. It doesn't feel comic booky and stuff, and you're like, how can someone like this exist in this world? And you just don't know the reality of it, and it just it's disturbing in a lot of ways. So
great word.
And that one was actually nominated for an Oscar too. So it's John Caglione Jr. and Connor O'Sullivan were actually not Oscar nominated for The Dark Knight. So and then my third pick was kind of similar to Chris's. I picked Guardians of the Galaxy, and Susie as well, just because of characters like you have Nebula, and you have Gamora, and you have Yondu, and you have Ronan the Accuser, and they're all under like really heavy colored makeup and stuff like that. And so it's even like
literal little villages, like their countries, like the worlds that they go to, that
all the orange,
from.
all the orange people, and then you have like Benicio del Toro's The Collector's kind of got like this kind of crazy makeup on and stuff too. So I think I picked that over, like, I know Chris, it sounded like you picked like Endgame or whatever specifically for those characters, but I just feel like Guardians will set up the world where you could have like different color, like people of like weird skin colors that you hadn't seen in the MCU before and stuff. So
I would go with that. I picked it. So.
Didn't Guardians pretty much bring all aliens into the MCU universe?
Well, I mean, there's aliens.
They're technically aliens, I guess, in a way.
I guess.
Well, and the Frost and stuff in Avengers, but you really didn't see other. You didn't see planets to that extent.
You didn't see weird creatures, really.
Yeah, we didn't see planets. I mean, we did see them attack in Avengers. They came.
Yeah.
But then just to shout out the names for that, they were also Oscar nominated. Actually, Guardians of the Galaxy was nominated for makeup as well for an Oscar, and that's Elizabeth Yanni Georgiou and David White were Oscar nominated for Guardians of the Galaxy. So so those are my picks. So,
I love it. We're at 9, right? That's all of us?
Yeah. That's all I had. So
all right. If you don't have a film represented in this list that I'm about to name off, let me know. X2, Endgame, Joker, Suicide Squad, Guardians of the Galaxy, Hellboy, Sin City, Kick-Ass, and Hellboy 2, The Golden Army.
Sounds good.
Keep them all. 9.
All right, Capers, let's go to the next category. Best Ensemble Cast. Who wants to go first? Susie?
Sure. My first choice is a fun one. I'm going with X-Force for Deadpool 2. You're not going to get anything more star-studded than a guest appearance by Brad Pitt. Like, that's pretty great.
Dude, yeah.
As far as a best fun ensemble, I would definitely choose them. They did not exactly get away with what they wanted to do or accomplish anything at all, but it was fun to watch. My other pick is Avengers Endgame for Time Heist, and I love the idea of the time heist. So
wow, she went specific to the moment in the movie
when they all came together.
Nice. I love that.
Next choice, I just kind of put them in there, but Justice League for a best ensemble cast.
Which Justice League and why?
Because there's 2 different.
And I mean, why?
The first one because they exist mostly than anything else.
Oh, that's what I thought about them for a second, but yes.
So you're saying the Snyder /
I haven't watched the Snyder cut yet. I know.
Have you guys not watched the Snyder's cut?
What?
I haven't watched it yet.
I mean, either. I don't know.
Chris,
I didn't like the first
I'm gonna
movie.
boot them.
The movie, I just like not excited about it at all because I didn't like the first movie at all. So
I know I will watch it eventually.
It's not the first movie at all. God, I've been talking about this for like 3 years about the Snyder Cut.
Oh, you're one of those. You're one of those hashtag
Snyder Cut. Chris, back me up, please. Film school dropout. Back me up.
No, that it's actually a superior movie. It's too long, but yes, it's a superior movie.
That's why I haven't rushed out. It's like 4 hours. Like, I gotta rush. I gotta watch.
Hold up. How many times have you seen Titanic?
I don't know.
Yeah, you don't know. So it's more than once, right? So it's
more
than once.
You know.
This year.
I'll get to it.
In 2021, more than once.
Wow.
So Susie's favorite movie is Braveheart. That's like over 3 hours.
Back when you finish
I haven't watched it yet, though. For this year yet.
I'm so mad
I plan on watching it. I have nothing against it. I just haven't gotten around to it.
We're coming over, Chad. I'm coming over. We're gonna watch it in your backyard.
I mean,
I'm out there till like
midnight. But
okay, sorry. Sorry.
The Incredibles.
Ooh.
It's a great family dynamic.
That's good.
And finally X-Men.
The first one. OG.
Yeah, I'll take OG.
Well, I can piggyback on those with my picks. There's some similarities there. So I just starting out. I put Justice League not because I like it. I just figured like it would represent because the first team up of like all the big DC.
It represents the category, not necessarily what you would choose.
It does. So like I have Justice League on there. I put. For X-Men, I was thinking about X-Men, and I was like, okay, they have to have an X-Men movie in here, but I was trying to think which one. And I ended up going with Days of Future Past because I feel like that was a movie that took, the major players of the original movies, the old continuity, the continuity's all messed up in those, but took those,
everyone
integrated them with the new cast and stuff like really well. Where you had Fassbender, you had McAvoy, you had Jennifer Lawrence and all those guys, but also with Patrick Stewart and Hugh Jackman and Ian McKellen, whatever Halle Berry. You had all those guys in there.
And I feel
I agree.
And I feel like it wove this net so seamlessly too. Mm-hmm. Like you didn't think about all the different continuity issues. You just
that's what's so brilliant about all these actors that you thought were from like almost separate parts of the franchise. They found a really genius way to like get them all in there and stuff. So that's why I went with that. And
it flowed beautifully.
Yeah, it's a great movie, and so that's what I went with for X-Men. And then I went with. Then I picked the Avengers, just the first one, because that was. Just think about what that, because obviously you could go with Infinity War and Endgame, which obviously were like some of the biggest ensembles of all time, but kind of like Justice League, Avengers was the first time you had all those characters together in a movie, and I just think that means something. Like, think how big of a deal that was. That was the biggest opening weekend of all time when that came out. What's the first movie to grow over like 200 million in its opening week? It was like people were so excited about that, and it's a really good movie, and it actually worked. And they had done so much groundwork, obviously, the previous movies, setting them all up to come together. Mm-hmm. And just because that was the first one, that's why I went with that over like Endgame or Infinity War, I feel like. And then my last pick, I went with Guardians of the Galaxy because that's just because I don't know, I'm not an avid comic book reader. We've talked about this before in previous episodes. Like, I had no idea who those characters were. And the fact that you had those actors come together and create these characters who are so funny and likable and believable and they're this, unlike the Avengers who had all been like introduced in previous movies, they're introduced to you in their movie as this team, right? And it just works so well right off the bat. And they didn't
fall in love with them from
and they didn't have this real estate to set up the characters like they did for Avengers or whatever. So that's why you got to give those actors and that ensemble a lot of credit. And it's so weird. It's like a raccoon and a tree and an alien and a dude from Earth. And it's like, but it works. You know what I mean? Like, so that's why I put Guardians on there. And those are my picks. So, yeah.
Nice. I'll go next because I want to jump on to what you were saying with Guardians. Yeah. I think I've said this before. I wasn't the biggest fan of Guardians of the Galaxy, but mass respect for the ability to bring such a diverse cast of characters together that, Susie, you're right, we absolutely fell in love with them right away. Yeah. So Guardians of the Galaxy is also part of my choice. I will also go with Avengers, Chad, because I felt like for me, that was like the big first spectacle that I saw in Los Angeles when I moved here. And it was a culmination of years and years of these characters that we grew to love, and they came together in a film. And I remember thinking to myself, how is Captain America going to become the captain of this team when Tony Stark was the OG that started it all? Mm-hmm. And they found they as in Marvel, Disney found a way, Marvel found a way to make it work at the time. And, mass respect for that film, because it ushered in a whole new dynamic of superhero films.
If that didn't work, like, who knows if the MCU would have kept going as strongly after that too. So,
Yeah, agreed. And then my next is X-Men First Class. I was going to talk about X-Men. We talked about this during the X2 director's commentary. What X2 did in that film was take a bunch of characters and put them together in a film and made it work. They didn't have, much like Guardians, they didn't have their own independent films to create a following for us to now then follow them into this big ensemble film. Yeah. It was all these characters put together and it worked. And for me, First Class, I'd always been interested in the dynamic between Magneto and Professor X. And then to add all of the other characters that I'd seen in X-Men films too, it just felt so cool to see the genesis of this group come together. So X-Men First Class, one of my big Ensemble Cast choices. My next is Captain America Civil War. Just the fact that we got T'Challa, the fact that we got so many characters in this film.
Spider-Man, that's where
Spider-Man. Yeah, and it all worked. There was conflict between all of them. The conflict between Scarlet, between Black Widow, and what did you call him earlier, Chris? Hawkman. The conflict between them two. Tony Stark going to see Spider-Man, going to see Peter Parker, and the conflict between Tony Stark and Steve Rogers. It just all worked for me, and it made me so excited about the next set of films.
No, I think Civil War is interesting because if you look at like any of the other Avengers movies, they're all on the same side. Civil War is interesting because you have this big ensemble that are actually on opposing sides, and you actually see why they each end up on the side that they're on, and the fact that they're fighting, but they're still like friends, they're like apologizing to each other and stuff like while they're fighting, like all in that airport scene, which is amazing. And that they
Black Widow or Scarlet Witch, you're pulling, what did she say? You're pulling your punches.
Yeah. Somebody says we're still friends, right? I forget.
Yeah. No, that's what Hawkeye said. Scarlett Johansson.
Oh yeah. So. But I don't know. It's right. So there's an interesting dynamic with the ensemble in that movie for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And then, guys, my last choice. I thought I was going to be the only one here to have Watchmen as any of my choices, but I just really like all of the characters in Watchmen. I mean, the editing was fantastic. You understood, even with like the comedian being the main character, like there's still so much story that revolves around everyone else, and it was wound together so tightly in a way that the ending felt so satisfying. So Watchmen is it's my first choice. I'm not gonna lie. So those are my choices.
Cool. Here's a good one.
All right. I'm up. All right. So had a couple actually there's a couple crossovers, which it's kind of fun. I thought about Avengers, first one, and Infinity War. I ultimately picked Infinity War because not going against anything what you said, because I think the actual culmination of the original 5 or 6 or whatever, that original group is great. How the build up to it and comes together. I like how Infinity works. Obviously, there's been so much more baggage in between, but this film balances all these great hero moments, all these great characters that everyone seems to get their just due, and there's the characters are almost doubled or tripled by the time you get to Infinity War.
Mm-hmm.
So I agree with that.
Perfect balance.
Every time I watch Infinity War, I'm absolutely amazed how they figured out how to motivate the inclusion of every single one of those freaking dozens and dozens of characters that you met, and there's enough real estate for them in the movie. Almost all of them, obviously Hawkeye and Ant-Man are the biggest ones that don't come in till the second, till the end game. But I mean, the fact that they figure out how to get them all in there, it doesn't feel forced. You're right, they all have enough real estate to like have awesome moments and shine and be part of the story. You're right. Yeah, I do love Infinity War for that reason. I love that. Yeah.
If you're a fan of each one of those characters, you're happy with what you saw in Infinity War.
Absolutely.
Next one, I picked Guardians 2 because after they both have to deal with obviously both Gamora and Peter Quill have to deal with family issues with his father, and then Nebula and
you get Kurt Russell in
Gamora.
There. Good addition.
Obviously this is the time Nebula was still trying to kill her, and then they actually became sisters. But you had that whole family dynamic, just like you said, and then you still have a tree. Well, the baby Groot, which you're dealing with the death, but then they actually fit baby Groot in there with the raccoon, and then obviously getting to see Yondu's human side a little bit more, like when they capture him, they all kind of like break out together instead of him just because obviously in the first one he's just a full-on bad guy. And
true. And you had like Stallone. You got Stallone in that movie as part of the ensemble.
Yeah. And that's when you meet Mantis.
Oh, Mantis is a great addition too.
Yeah. Now X-Men 2. Picked X-Men. Similar reasons, because I believe it was a perfect balance, kind of like Infinity War, where you have all of them pretty much got their just due. The stories broke up. You had this group dealing with the Iceman's family, and then you got Wolverine taking care of these kids who he's just starting to like get used to this, being here with these kids, and all of a sudden he's taking care of them. Discovering Nightcrawler. You get all these different aspects of these stories, but it all kind of like they break off. The characters wind up breaking off and then coming back together perfectly.
Wow, so, Chris, you said something that really just struck me. Films are about the characters that may or may not be extraordinary, thrown into extraordinary situations. And what you said about, Logan having to take these kids on a journey, and then, going through everything with Iceman's family, like, that's what I feel like. I'm just thinking back to that, and I wish I would have chosen it because there's so much emotion and so much character build in that film. A lot of people thought X2 was one of the greatest for a while. X2 was the greatest superhero film of all time.
No, I still think that. I think X-Men. I like X-Men 2. I've all got better X-Men.
I feel like that did hold the title. That held the title for a few years. I feel like until What do you think? What do you think supplanted that? Like Batman Begins or Batman or Dark Knight?
We'll get into that
category later. We'll talk about those later. we got enough discussion for this. And then my fourth pick, my last pick, I picked is New Mutant.
Wait, what'd you say?
The New Mutants.
Oh, New Mutants. Yeah.
I haven't seen that yet.
It's really. I actually really liked it. I like that movie.
Yeah. No, you follow these kids and they're all stuck in a school, a hospital. And then to me, I looked at it as like kind of like a mutant breakfast club, where you have all the different personalities, but they all kind of worked out their powers and they kind of work together, and and then finding out their doctor's a bad guy and they're being experimented on. It's just like, and then they all decide you find this common enemy, you all come together. So, and then they discover their powers together too, because they didn't know how to control them until they got into extraordinary circumstances.
Right. And the crazy thing about New Mutants too, when did that come out? That was like as soon as the pandemic hit, I feel like. Mutants didn't get a chance to have its full theatrical run.
Was it supposed to be theatrical?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I just wasn't sure if they always intended to have that
No,
streamed.
they released it last August, so I remember it was playing at drive-ins and stuff. Yeah.
No,
That movie got delayed for a long time.
No, that movie was pushed for 2 years. It was done a long time ago. It was supposed to be out before Phoenix,
which makes sense. Well, which makes sense because I mean, look at the two main characters in that film. It's you know, what's her name from Queen's Gambit and Split, and then Arya Stark. You know, if there's an Arya, if your daughter's named Arya, it's because of Game of Thrones. All right. If you feel like one of the films that you brought up is not represented in this list, let me know. Deadpool 2 for Best Ensemble Cast, Endgame, Justice League, Incredibles, X-Men, X-Men Days of Futures Past, Avengers, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1, Watchmen, X-Men First Class, Avengers Infinity War, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, X2, and New Mutants. So let's count this. 1.
We could probably consolidate a couple of those.
12, 13. All right, there's 14. We need to get rid of 4.
Okay.
Woo.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe we can.
I can exit out Infinity War and go with your Avengers. Go with Avengers 1. I'm cool with that.
Okay, I'll take away Infinity War.
Maybe with the Guardians, like we should pick either 1 or 2. We could probably do that.
I like Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 better, but I feel like Volume 1 was just so much more impactful and iconic.
Well, my argument was that that's when we first met those characters, and that ensemble like has to work in that movie for you to care about those characters and stuff, because like I said, they weren't set up anywhere else.
And we have 2 Justice Leagues.
No.
Well, I think it's listed once in the.
Okay.
Listed once. Yeah. So do you want to get rid of Guardians too?
Yeah, get rid of Guardians too and go with Guardians.
Yeah, I mean that would be my vote, but
yeah, I'll let that slide too.
All right, we got to get rid of 2 more. Do you want me to read them off again?
You can change. I don't know if you got mine as Avengers Endgame. You can change that to original Avengers as well. What are we down to now?
We need to get rid of 2.
2.
Okay.
So that means, all right, let me read them off again. New Mutants, X2, X-Men First Class, Watchmen, Guardians Volume 1, Avengers, X-Men Days of Future Past, X-Men, Incredibles, Justice League, Endgame, and Deadpool 2.
It's a lot of X-Men.
So how many do we have? Like 4 X-Men movies? Which X-Men movies? Let's consolidate the X-Men.
I want to keep X-Men too, but we can cut.
I mean, X-Men is just, there's X-Men the first one. X-Men
you can cut that. Because X2 is probably.
X2 and X First Class. You want to cut X-Men?
Yeah.
Okay, let's cut
X-Men. I mean, I vote for keeping Days of Future Past because my argument is that it's a bridge between the ensembles of both parts of the franchise.
And so. I like to keep X-Men Days of Future Past. You can cut First Class and the original.
First Class and the original. My vote is to cut Deadpool 2, but Susie will beat me up.
I mean, you can. I just think it's a fun one to have in the category.
Deadpool 2 is fun. And then you add the kid, Julian Dennison or whatever, the kid from like Hunt for the Wilder People. Like he's fun. He's fun in that one too.
All right.
I mean, I could cut Justice League too, but you know.
I mean, yeah, I just put Justice League just to give DC its due.
Same.
But like, I don't really care.
It should be represented.
I mean, it is a movie with Batman and Superman and Wonder Woman and the Flash.
But we all put Justice League. So.
Yeah, we should keep Justice League.
Okay. All right.
No, get rid of X-Men First Class or Deadpool 2.
I say X-Men First Class.
All right, cool. We're good.
Yeah. All right.
Woo.
Nice.
All right.
So one last one for this episode, right?
Best villain.
One. This one is important.
Yeah, I mean, you always say, what's a good comic book movie or story without a villain? You know,
you
can't have a hero without a villain.
Exactly.
You got to understand what's at stake, and I'm going to go first. And I think we were spoiled in 2019. Was it 2019 that we got Killmonger and Thanos?
Yeah.
No, Killmonger is 2018.
2018.
Oh well, Thanos was 20, and Infinity War is also 2018. So yeah, you got technically both.
Yeah. No, just,
I think we got spoiled because we had two of the greatest cinematic villains of all time. As I have to say, this as a black man, Killmonger, he said what we were all thinking. And I remember we saw that. Chad, did we see that together at the Dome in Hollywood?
Black Panther?
Yeah.
Maybe. Had a lot of good memories. Had a lot of good memories at the Dome,
that.
which sadly is closed now. But you know.
R.I.P. for now. I remember seeing Black Panther at the Hollywood Dome, and everyone just showed up in their dashikis, and it was I never felt more proud to be black, I have to say. So
nice.
Longer, Michael B. Jordan, your villain was one that we could all relate to. So that's one of my choices. Nice. Like I said, Avengers, you know, we all knew. Like I went into Infinity War with so much anxiety. Like I knew what was going to happen. I didn't know anything about the snap. I didn't know anything about Thanos. But I just knew that shit was about to go down.
Well, Thanos had been teased, you know, but you didn't really know what was.
You didn't know, right? You didn't know, and I didn't want to do any type of research. So, like, to see him and to know, I remember there was like memes online. They would like show Thanos and like cut the Stone Cold Steve Austin music to Thanos first entering and like beating everybody up, and I was like, oh god, my anxiety level is going to be so high. And we saw it in a group of like, I don't know, 15 people. And it was such a cinematic experience. Chad, you always talk about how Black Panther was dying, and somebody in the theater was like, "No!"
Yeah, I love that moment when everybody starts, you know, dusting away, and the theater is dead silent. I don't remember where I saw it, but then like dead silent, and then when T'Challa like goes to Ash, one person went, "No!" like a genuine, not like trying to be funnier. It was like a genuine, like anger, all of anguish in theater. I'll never forget that.
Right, and then me and my girlfriend, you know, I remember we're just looking, and we're like, "Oh my god, we just got him! How are you going to take him away?"
Right.
Damn you, Marvel! No, at that point you'd only had him for like a couple months. Well, after he was in Civil War, but I mean after his main movie,
Right. No,
yeah.
true.
So, Josh Brolin, you killed it as Thanos. So what else? Andrew Dietmar played. Played by Dane DeHaan. Dane DeHaan, you will remember him from. He played in the Amazing Spider-Man 2. He played. God, what's that character?
Norman Osborn.
Norman Osborn's son, but I'm gonna give this to him as a villain for Chronicle.
Yeah.
I remember watching Chronicle and just I felt like, you know, we've coined the term the Anakin turn, because of what we've seen with Star Wars, but I feel like his Anakin turn was so justified, and so I was with him, and it sucked that, you know, he had to make that turn, but it just made so much more sense. And he was a great villain that I'm always going to remember. I'm going to just go to the next one. Heath Ledger and the Joker. Like, we've been waiting for the Joker. It's
of course.
You have to. Like, he definitely was such an interesting factor of that movie. And, you know, what's said about villains are really good when you're an audience member listening to a villain and you start to see the point of view of the villain and you start to understand what they're going through. That's a true villain right there. And you know,
if you can question whether or not like they might be right, that makes a great villain. You know the difference between the line between right and wrong, but you're like, they have a point. It's like, all right, well, true villain. That's how you rise to power.
So true. And then my last villain, I'm gonna give it Jason Lee. Your Syndrome in The Incredibles. I have to give it to you.
Yeah.
Syndrome was such a great villain because you understood what he went through as a kid. You understood he wanted to just be appreciated, and he didn't get that. And that manifested into him becoming the villain for such a wholesome group of people who were just trying to do good. And I think The Incredibles was revolutionary and ahead of its time. So those are my villain choices.
I'll go next. I mean, there's a number of obviously repeats in here, so I'll say that was Killmonger first off. Is just to add on to what he said, it was a villain that you understood why. You understood him so much that in the movie, probably half the movie would have sided with him. They had to make him choke a grandmother just so you know he's the bad guy. That's how killed him.
Is this your king?
Yeah, they literally had to make him choke a grandma. Otherwise you're like, hey, I get it. I'm on his side.
Like, could he be that bad?
They should be helping too. Yeah. So the Killmonger, Thanos, obviously, because I understood his plight. I mean, to me, I feel like Thanos is kind of like an extremist in the sense that, like, yes, he's right, but that's not the way I go about it. Yes, you have to find another way other than just taking off half the people off the universe. Yeah. To create better resources or for everyone. You just gotta find a different way. But I actually understood his plight and his fight.
I think during COVID, when there was no traffic, is when we were like, you know what? Maybe Thanos wasn't wrong.
Half the people.
You know what?
This is kind of nice.
I get you toilet paper. Maybe Thanos was right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like,
okay, Joker, Heath Ledger, Joker, of course. What everyone else said on that. I have to go with Mr. Glass.
Ooh,
absolutely.
Margaret, are you kicking yourself for not having
so hard. I tried so hard, Chris. I'm so glad you brought him into this. Oh,
Mr. Glass.
Tried so hard for what?
No, he was. I mean, to think like in Unbreakable, the kind of the birth of a superhero, the story, but it's also the birth of a supervillain. It's usually the dichotomy of the superheroes. Their villain is kind of like this opposite thing that actually fights against them, like Superman, Lex Luthor, or he's the brains behind. He's the brains above Superman's brawn, and that's what they kind of created this character as. He became this villain because he couldn't be a hero. He was a comic book fan. He became a villain because he couldn't be a hero. And he only became a villain trying to find the truth of a superhero, and he just wanted to become a villain because he killed a lot of people. But but no, I mean it's stupid enough. But yeah, that's
such a great example. That's such a great definition and description of Mr. Glass's character, because at that point we'd never really sided, I don't think, with a villain, like at least in mainstream cinema, right? Like we went into X-Men knowing who Magneto was, but we didn't side with him. We didn't see his past. Maybe we understood the Holocaust.
Oh yeah, I mean
that was just a quick 4-minute scene out of a an hour and a half, an hour and 45 movie. But maybe Mr. Glass was really the first villain that we were able to identify with. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I would say, yeah, I understood him. I mean, I didn't exactly agree with him, but it's kind of, I guess it's kind of like the same way as Thanos. It's like, yo, I agree with you, but this is not the best way to go about it. Causing all those like major accidents just to see if there's a superhero alive. That's not the best way to go about it.
Right. But it's understandable how a guy that
so I can understand how this character is created.
Right. The guy that felt so vulnerable and so useless. You have to do something, because there's three things we all want. We all want to be, two things. We all want to feel worthy, and we all want to feel loved. And Mr. Glass felt neither of those.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then my final one is Steppenwolf from the Zack Snyder's Justice League. If you haven't seen it, but that's one of the big things. They revamped this character to he's an actual real villain. He's an actual threat. I feel like in the first one, yes, he was strong, but it was the jokes and all this other stuff. They revamped his look. They revamped his dialogue. They actually made him a full-on menace. So I feel like what they did with the villain actually made him scary to the actual Justice League. Yeah.
Scary.
And so the Zack Snyder's version. Let that be clear. And that was my villains.
Nice.
Some great villains.
Like,
Nice
yeah,
to meet you.
I could piggyback. You know, I got some overlap with you guys too. Like, obviously, I picked Thanos, but I think we should do like a specific movie for the villains too, like the one where they were the most villainous if they're in more than one. So I picked Infinity War because Infinity War, one of the most shocking things about Infinity War, which I really like about Infinity War, is just how like, I don't know, like how depressing of a movie it is. Like, it's a very like, there's like a sense of dread throughout that entire movie, right? You just don't get a sense they're gonna win, and they don't, and they lose to the villain, the most powerful, this powerful Avengers team. They lose, and Thanos wins at the end, and that's crazy for a movie that big with that many heroes to lose.
Well, Thanos was the protagonist in a sense, right? Like, if you can make the judgment and the call that Thanos was the main character in that film. Thanos was the protagonist in a way, or the anti-hero, I guess.
Anti-hero. Yeah. I mean,
yeah, but I mean, you really understood. Yeah, like I said, you really understand his motivations, and he's been kind of teased throughout the whole thing. And then Infinity War, he comes and he actually does it. He succeeds, and so like, he's just this presence in that movie that is just an unstoppable force, no matter what they do. And I love Infinity War for that. So I go with
feeling so shitty. I can't even tell.
I know, and the cliffhanger, like nobody expected that. That's just nuts. Yeah. So definitely go with Thanos for Infinity War, and then obviously the Joker from The Dark Knight, of course. And you have to. I also had Mr. Glass for Unbreakable, of course, for all the stuff you guys said, but also because the thing about that movie is you don't realize he's the villain until the last moments of the movie. You're watching this movie and you just think he's some weird dude, and with all these theories about superheroes, and then you don't realize till the very end. That's the the Shyamalan twist
3 minutes
that he's the villain. You're like, oh shit, like he's been the villain the whole time. You didn't know that, and that's the biggest. I love that villain reveal, and you know that, but you really understand his. Again, it's like you don't like hate him real. It's like you understand why he's doing it. And he's really gotten the short, drawn the short stick for short straw.
But for also, he always knew from the very beginning that he was the villain.
He did, yeah.
If he knew that David was the hero, he knows that he's on the opposite spectrum of that.
Yeah.
And he is not even just the villain, but the arch enemy.
Right. It's kind of what's kind of fun about him is because he talks in comic book terms. Like he knows
he understands it better than anyone else.
It's very self-referential. Like, you're the hero, I'm the villain. Like, he talks about, which you don't really get in a lot of other movies too, which is kind of unique about it. How self-reflexive or whatever that that movie is.
He doesn't pontificate. He doesn't sit there and talk about, this is my master plan and this is what I'm going to do. And that's what those films, I would say, from like the 90s on to like early 2000s, that villain always had that last speech in the third act. This is what I did, and you're not going to be able to stop me. And that speech is actually the thing that gave the superhero the idea of how to stop him. There was none of that in this. That's why I feel like Unbreakable was such a iconic film, and such, like, you guys are making me feel bad about being Shyamalan's #1 fan by not choosing Mr. Glass here.
Come on.
Well, you should.
Good job. I'm proud of you guys.
Right.
I just have a couple. So I also did. So I wanted to put Magneto down, of course, because Magneto goes across so many of the X-Men movies. I wasn't sure. I just put for the first X-Men because, like you said, you see the concentration camp, and you just like, and then he kind of, you see how he starts more of a friend and kind of turn, but he's always, but the way Ian McKellen played, and even going into Fassbender too, it's just like, they're the villain, but they're also like, you like Magneto, you like Eric, and like you can see how the complicated friendship / relationship between him and Charles and stuff, and he does switch sides. He'll help the X-Men, but then he goes off and does his own thing, and then he helps the X-Men again, and then he's the villain again. And it's kind of like Loki in a way. You could I didn't put Loki in this category. You could too, where Loki's like a villain in like the Avengers, then you like Loki, he's like a good guy in the next movie, and you can't trust him. Same thing with Magneto, you don't trust him
You don't hate
you know?
him.
Yeah, no, you don't. But I kind of like a villain.
I don't know. I think I trust Magneto to stick to what he believes.
Yeah. And again, you understand his reasoning. So I wasn't sure which movie to put Magneto for. I think we should attach movies to all these nominations. I'm not really sure.
The first one. I like the first one.
Yeah, because that's the
one. It was a simpler
used.
story with just him. I mean, their points of view on how to make mutant lives better.
Yeah.
So.
That's how you truly understand where Magneto's coming from.
So I like Magneto for that, and then the last one I put, like, I just was thinking what other MCU villain other than like Thanos that I feel like made an impression. I put Red Skull from Captain America: The First Avenger, just because like, well, Hugo Weaving is so good. He just is such a great villain. From Agent Smith and Matrix and all that stuff, and but like Red Skull has just got the distinct like that look to him, and then you can say he's both a Nazi and he's Hydra. So he's like both. He's like the worst, the two worst organizations and stuff like that. And, I don't know. So I like the World War II kind of setting to that, and he's just like he's the first like one of the first big like over the top. He's the first big like comic booky over the top villain in the MCU. If you
I feel like
about it.
Well, I feel like he's the first over the top villain in this like renaissance of superhero films that were like, you're not
with the prosthetics and stuff. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So and then he ends up playing. Then you can see how he is trapped for eternity, like guarding the Soul Stone and stuff. So it's just kind of an interesting arc for that character too. So I just put him in there because he always kind of stuck out to me. So
wow.
So those are my picks.
I can go next on that because I have a lot of overlap.
I think you're last.
Huh?
I think you're last.
Yeah. Oh, okay, that was it. Okay.
Let's go, CBQ. You're in this bad boy. This is all on you. Let us know.
Oh, great. So first, obviously, being the Joker for The Dark Knight, and really because I think Heath Ledger's Joker is probably going to be, at this point, the Joker that everyone's going to have to live up to. There's just, I mean, like, obviously Joaquin Phoenix did it too, but it was just very different, and you can see the style of the Joker and how different it is.
Yeah.
But like any other future Batman movies, it's going to be very difficult for anyone to kind of live up to him.
Actually, just something I thought of real quick is it's just like you talked about how we like knowing the villain's backstory and their motivation. I think that what's great about Heath Ledger's Joker is you actually don't know his backstory or his motivation. That's kind of scary. It's like really terrifying in a way, like because he changed.
Like, how did he become this crazy?
Yeah. How in this world? Yeah. In the world Nolan's created, Nolan hasn't created this like over the top comic booky world, which is it's like a gritty crime thriller, and then you have this crazy. That's what's scary about it because you don't get information.
And in the comic booky world of Batman, his version of the Joker was just by far the best.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
My second one is Thanos, but my version, it would be for Endgame, only because after witnessing that he does potentially lose, he chooses to change his snap into wiping out all of the world, essentially, or all of the universe. And it's no longer for the betterment of the world. Like, he lost sight of, like what he wanted to accomplish.
Yeah.
And I think at that point now he just wanted to get even. He got greedy. He got upset because he felt like he wasn't appreciated for the ideas that he had. And so
he saw he lost. Yeah.
So he saw that like, oh, he can potentially lose. Well, screw you guys. Now I'm killing you all. And it's like, that's the villain. Like, he no longer has a view of what's potentially good for humanity. Now he's just bitter and wants to wipe out humanity. So
sounds like an anti-masker.
Yeah.
No, wow. That's a great point.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. Yeah.
And so
I'm not gonna lie, Susie, I just want to sit and think about that for like 15 minutes.
we can pause. But yeah, like it's true. Like if there was a doubt if maybe he's the good guy or bad guy, that's the moment that it's no longer valid. You are clearly the bad guy now, and now you're trying to wipe off all of living creatures off the planet.
Right. That's such a good thing. and that goes back to what Chris was saying about really showing us who the evil person is, who the bad guy is. Like for Killmonger having to choke out an elderly person, right? Like for Thanos having to really decide that I want to X out and cut out the rest of the world because I'm not going to get my way. And even for me, the Joker, like I love the Joker because he tells the truth for the entire film until it comes to Harvey Dent. Like that's the moment. There's in all these films, there's a moment where that villain that we love does something that we hate, and that's where they make their turn.
It's like when you see them for the true villain that they truly are.
Yeah, that makes me want to go back and watch it in game. Nice choice.
Yeah. And Killmonger, for all of the reasons why I have said Killmonger.
Yeah.
And who's my other? Oh, I don't know if this one's allowed, but I chose Hydra just as a whole, as a villain.
Hydra.
I mean, it could be allowed, it could not be allowed. But I'd say Hydra as a.
You could pick like there's different people you could pick like Pierce from Robert Redford's character from Winter Soldier. You could pick the Winter Soldier. You could pick Zola or Red Skull. There's different representatives of Hydra.
Yeah, I felt like as an organization, they're what is pure villainy. So
yeah, they're kind of.
I think Hydra the organization fits.
But what movie would put it at? Winter Soldier?
Winter Soldier, yeah, because I guess you can see it more.
Well, that's when they make their play out from hiding. Yeah, maybe.
That's a huge moment for that's like the midpoint. Because if you think about the entire MCU, if you think about it as a film, like you can really look at the film in the past, 23 films or whatever it was, and you can pick out the midpoint. You can pick, I think the midpoint probably Civil War. You can pick out like the first act. You can pick out the second act. You can pick out the climax. And I really feel like Winter Soldier somewhere in there was a very pivotal moment in the entire MCU, because that's when our good boy, that's when our protagonist of the year really started to have a change of heart. That's when Captain America started to really doubt the government and doubt all of the stuff that he learned and all of his values at the core. So that's a very pivotal moment.
They didn't have and then they didn't really have the backbone of S.H.I.E.L.D. anymore, kind of supporting the heroes and the Avengers and stuff. Yeah. Which led to the Sokovia Accords and all that stuff. Yeah.
Oh man.
And my last pick, just to make Martin feel really bad about himself. Elijah / Mr. Glass
Martin,
for
how are you
Unbreakable.
The one person pick a Shyamalan villain?
Oh god.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. Unfreaking believable.
Feel shame.
I like these picks.
Yeah.
This is such a good category. So let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's 11. Oh, hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay. I'm just going to go ahead and say Andrew Dietmar and Chronicle. We can eliminate.
Well, don't we? I mean, we have. I guess we have Thanos twice, right, for 2 different movies. But I guess we could keep and see what people think he was most evil in, because I agree with. I didn't think about that take on Thanos from Endgame and stuff, but just to me, that feeling I get when I watch Infinity War, and they're just so hopeless against him, and he's just a relentless force, and he does kill Gamora, and he does kill Vision, and he does kill a few of the main characters in that movie himself, and stuff like that. So I just the relentless force of him as a villain in Infinity War, I just can't shake when I watch that movie. But
I'm surprised the world forgave Peter Quill.
Yeah, that's true. Quill messed that up pretty bad.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know. Yeah.
Right.
So I mean, but no, that's a great point about Endgame too. Is we can leave him on for both.
I think we need to.
Okay. People can interpret. Yeah. Have
Okay. No, leave them because they're different. They're different. I think they're different.
All right.
So.
I'd say eliminate Syndrome. Anyone?
Okay.
Not Syndrome. I'm sorry. I'd say, well, it's either Syndrome or Andrew Dietmar from Chronicle. I'd say eliminate one of these two. What do you guys
want? I mean, I haven't watched Chronicle in a long time, so I can't really say. I mean, Syndrome is a fun villain. You do see a little bit of his backstory, and we don't really have too many of the animation stuff represented. So I'd be down to leave Syndrome.
Okay. Let's delete and all right, Capers, there you have it. The first episode of the Golden Cape Awards. We need your help in choosing the best winner of each of these categories. 21 years actually is a long time in cinema, and it's about time these superhero characters, the individuals who work tirelessly on set, get awards and accolades for what they contributed to this genre. I'm going to call it a genre. So thank you.
I'm excited for these, and I can't wait to the next episode where you actually wrap up some more. Check out our picks and pick the best ones, preferably mine.
So we're putting the poll out there. We're putting the form out there. People can vote soon, right? Yeah, cool.
Putting the form out there.
Let's do it. All right. Well,
thanks for
your vote matters.
Yeah. Thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll see you in the next one. And get your votes in. Yeah.
Till the next, guys.
Cool.
All right.
All right, Capers.
Signing off.
Bye.
See you, Capers. Till next time.
Peace out.
Later.